Daniel and Sarah just got approved for their first home. The agent smiled. The lender congratulated them. Their parents said the sentence every renter dreams of hearing. Finally, you're building equity. For 5 minutes, it felt like they had won. Then the numbers started moving. Not the price of the house. That number was already terrifying. The real problem was the money hiding around the house, the money hidden in the offer, the money hidden in the loan, the money hidden in the closing table, the money hidden inside the inspection report, the money hiding behind the roof, the water heater, the HVAC system, and the walls nobody looked at closely enough. By the end of their first year, Daniel and Sarah were almost $47,000 poorer than they needed to be. And the scariest part? None of it looked like a mistake while it was happening. That is how most Americans lose money buying a home. Not because buying a house is always bad, but because the home buying process is designed to make a financial decision feel like an emotional emergency. So here is where the $47,000 disappears and how to avoid losing it. Daniel is 32. Sarah is 30. Together, they make $118,000 a year. They rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $2,300 a month. The apartment is fine, but rent keeps going up. Their friends are buying homes. Their parents keep reminding them that renting is throwing money away. And every night, Zillow starts looking less like an app and more like a life plan. Then Sarah finds the house. 3 bedrooms, small backyard, decent school district, not perfect, but good enough. Price, $430,000. The agent says there are already other interested buyers. That sentence alone is expensive. Because the moment a buyer hears other people want this house, the house stops being a house. It becomes a competition. Daniel and Sarah were planning to offer asking price. But then they imagined losing it. They imagined another couple getting the keys. They imagined renewing their lease again. They imagined being stuck while everyone else moved forward. So they offered $12,000 over asking. That is the first loss. Not because overbidding is always wrong. Sometimes it makes sense. But emotional overbidding is different. Emotional overbidding happens when the buyer stops asking, "Is this house worth this price?" and starts asking, "What if someone else gets it?" That is the moment the seller gets leverage over your future. So Daniel and Sarah are no longer buying a $430,000 house. They are buying a $442,000 emotional decision. Loss number 1, $12,000. Then comes the closing table. This is where most buyers think the hard part is over. The offer was accepted. The inspection happened. The loan was approved. Everyone is smiling. Everyone is moving papers around. Everyone is saying, "Just sign here." But closing costs are where thousands of dollars disappear while wearing a suit. Lender fees, title fees, appraisal fees, escrow fees, prepaid taxes, homeowners insurance, recording fees, inspection costs. Daniel and Sarah expected closing costs, but they did not emotionally count them. Because by the time closing arrives, every fee feels like one more door standing between you and the keys. On their house, closing costs come to $9,800. And what do they get for that money? No new kitchen, no extra bedroom, no finished basement, no better roof, no bigger backyard, just permission to complete the transaction. Loss number 2, $9,800. Total damage so far, $21,800. Then comes the mortgage. This is one of the quietest ways Americans lose money. Daniel and Sarah compared houses for weeks. They compared neighborhoods, kitchens, commute times, school ratings, backyard sizes, and bathroom tiles, but they only got one serious mortgage quote. The lender was friendly. The payment looked possible. The paperwork was already moving. So, they accepted the rate. And this is where homebuyers do something strange. They negotiate the price of the house, but forget to negotiate the price of the money used to buy the house. A bad mortgage rate does not feel painful on day 1. It does not punch you in the face. It just quietly taxes your life every month. One small difference in rate can cost thousands over time. For Daniel and Sarah, not shopping properly costs about $8,400 in early payment impact and unnecessary interest. Loss number 3, $8,400. Total damage, $30,200. Then comes my. Daniel and Sarah did not have 20% down. They had enough to buy, but not enough to buy comfortably. So private mortgage insurance gets added to the payment. Now, my is not automatically bad. For some buyers, it is the tool that helps them get into a house earlier. But the problem is not PMI. The problem is buying so tightly that every extra monthly cost pushes your life closer to the edge. It is only a few hundred more for PMI. Only a few hundred more for insurance. Only a few hundred more for property taxes. Only a few hundred more for utilities. Only a few hundred more for repairs. And suddenly, the house does not feel like stability anymore. It feels like a subscription you cannot cancel. In their first year, PMI and added monthly pressure cost them around $4,800. Loss number 4, $4,800. Total damage, $35,000. Then the house starts acting like a house. This is the part nobody posts on Instagram. People post the keys. They post the front door. They post the empty living room. They post the caption, new chapter. Nobody posts the fact quote. 6 months after moving in, Daniel and Sarah noticed the house is not cooling properly. The inspection report had said the system was older but functional. That phrase sounds harmless. But in home ownership, older but functional usually means not broken enough for the seller to fix, but old enough to become your problem later. The HVAC quote comes back at $7,900. Then the water heater starts leaking, another $1,300. Then a small plumbing issue shows up, another $900. That is when Daniel and Sarah learned the truth. A house is not just a place to live, it is a machine that sends invoices. First-year repairs cost them $10,100. Total damage, $45,100. And there is still one more mistake. They never created a walk-away number. Before buying, they had a dream number. They had a maximum approval number. They had a monthly payment estimate. But they did not have a real walk-away number. A walk-away number is the exact point where the deal becomes wrong. It includes the highest price you will pay. The highest monthly payment you can survive. The emergency fund that must remain after closing. The repair budget you refuse to sacrifice. The maximum rate you will accept. The maximum amount you will overbid. And the point where renting is still better than owning. Daniel and Sarah did not have that number. So every time the deal got worse, they adjusted. The offer went up, the closing costs were accepted, the rate was accepted, the P was accepted, the repairs were accepted. That is how people lose control. Not all at once. One small compromise at a time. By the end of year 1, their avoidable mistakes added up to roughly $47,000. And here is the important part. Daniel and Sarah were not stupid. They were not reckless. They were not trying to impress anyone. They were normal. That is what makes this dangerous. Most people do not lose money buying a home because they are careless. They lose money because the process rewards emotion and punishes patience. The agent wants the deal to close. The lender wants the loan to close. The seller wants the highest offer. The title company gets paid when the papers move. The insurance company gets paid when the policy starts. Everyone around the transaction has a reason to keep things moving. But only one person has to live with the payment. You. That is why approval is not safety. A bank approval does not mean the house is affordable. It means the bank believes you are likely to keep paying them. Those are not the same thing. The bank does not care if you stop investing. The bank does not care if every repair goes on a credit card. The bank does not care if the payment keeps you awake at night. The bank does not care if the house slowly steals your freedom. The bank cares if the payment clears. So before buying a house, stop asking only one question. Can I get approved? Ask the better question. Can this house survive my real life? Can it survive a job change? Can it survive a baby? Can it survive a medical bill? Can it survive an insurance increase? Can it survive a broken HVAC system? Can it survive one bad year? If the answer is no, you are not buying stability. You are buying stress with a roof. So here is the checklist. Before you make an offer, calculate your real monthly payment, not just principal and interest. Add taxes, insurance, PMI, utilities, and maintenance. Second, keep an emergency fund after closing, not before closing. After closing. If the down payment wipes out your savings, the house is too expensive. Third, get at least 3 mortgage quotes. A house is expensive, but the wrong loan can be even more expensive. Fourth, read the inspection report like it is a bill from the future, because that is exactly what it is. Fifth, compare buying to renting in your actual city, not your parents' city, not America in general, your city, your rent, your income, your numbers. And finally, write down your walk-away number before you fall in love with the house. Because once you emotionally move in, leaving becomes much harder. The real flex is not getting approved. The real flex is not winning a bidding war. The real flex is not posting house keys on Instagram while your savings account is gasping for air. The real flex is knowing your numbers so clearly that when the deal becomes wrong, you can stand up, walk away, and sleep perfectly fine that night. A house should give you stability. If it steals your sleep, your savings, and your choices, you did not buy a home. You bought a trap with a front door. So before you sign, run the numbers. And if someone you know is shopping for a house right now, send them this before they turn a dream home into a $47,000 mistake.